Clarity Act tensions are brewing. Cardano receives increased stablecoin liquidity and an iagon update. Keep watching to find out more. Alrighty guys, another week, another circus in crypto. No fluff, no intros. We're jumping straight into this week's madness, starting off with the charts. So in the last 24 hours, as you can see, some tokens have gone up a decent amount. Bitcoin's gone up 6%. That's been following some news, which we'll go into later. Now looking at some Cardano native tokens, this is against USDC. Some have gone up a little bit matching Bitcoin, but otherwise overall it's been sideways, if not bleeding movement. A lot of red here, as you guys can see. Iagon specifically, we're up 6.28% against USDC in the last 24 hours. However, in the last week, we're down 10%, and in the last month, we're down 6%. As opposed to someone like Strike. Strike's up nearly 40% in the last month, so that's good for them. Knight is up nearly 25% in the last month. So good to see that some native tokens are doing well. So starting off with the news, Trump made this post talking about the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, and he's saying how the banks are playing games, trying to delay things and trying to get things pushed their way. Charles said that the banks amended the bill 137 times. So as you can see, they want things their way. They're not happy with their slice of the pie getting a bit smaller. So here we have an interview with JP Morgan's CEO, and he says stablecoin rewards are the same as bank interest, and it's simply not true. If you compare stablecoin yield to bank interest, typically stablecoin yield is higher, and it's for one reason. When you put your money in a bank, the bank then takes that money and invests it and makes extra money, leaving you the crumbs, right? Also, if you decide to remove large amounts or move large amounts around, you have to ask for permission and there is a delay. Unlike crypto and stablecoin liquidity, you have almost instant finality, which is just a total game changer. They don't like that their slice of the pie is getting smaller and that the profits are being handed over to you. So watch over the next few weeks for FUD and fact check, because you'll see an increase in this as tensions keep increasing. Here, this is actually quite fresh. About an hour or two ago, the SEC has submitted an interpretation to federal regulators outlining how security laws apply to certain crypto assets. So there is some progress on it. Not much, but you can see that things are trending in the right direction. And here you may have heard in the last few days that Charles has been sort of having a bit of an issue with the current Clarity Act. He says a bad bill is not better than no bill. You start from a principle-based approach. Don't make everything a security by default. Upgrade security laws and create hooks for disclosure, tax compliance, KYC, and other things. This is a bit of a case of mum and dad fighting, and the kids just want to go to Disneyland. The regulators want to maintain their slice of the pie, whilst the crypto crowd want to pull things the other way. They want regulation that makes sense. And Charles is pretty much saying that they've either made a lazy approach or an approach that is quite loose, that leaves room for manipulation, which will hurt the space in the long run. Now, some people are saying that Charles is misconstruing the Clarity Act itself and misrepresenting it or overreacting. Look, at the end of the day, we've seen in the last week, whether it's USDC going to Cardano or now the Clarity Act, that there are people who are asking some questions. And I think just because there's a new shiny thing coming in that's bullish, we shouldn't just bend over and say, yes, sir. We should still ask questions and still make sure that it's right for us. Right now in crypto, tensions are high. People are down real bad, people are hurting, and people just want a quick fix. Remember, try put those emotions aside and look at the facts and make sure that what is being offered is right for us, okay? We're better than this. We've been wanting this for a long time. Let's not just go for the first offer straight away and make sure that things are right. So some positive news, Kraken has been granted a Federal Reserve Master account. So what is that? A Federal Reserve Master account grants Kraken access to faster rails, faster finality, cheaper fees, and more control over their funds. It's the same master key that's given to banks. So this is really promising that we're seeing bank, government, and institutional level of adoption being handed to Kraken. This is great news for ADA and Cardano native token holders, because Kraken is one of the very few exchanges that looks favorably and lists Cardano native tokens. So this may not equal instant liquidity and price go up for any of those tokens, but the funds are there, the ramps are there, and there is potential for the future. So in the last week, Cardano has finally gotten USDC X. And in the last week, we've gotten 15 million USDC on Cardano. That's awesome. There have been a few proposals going around whether fees of the bridge should be directed to the treasury just to bootstrap it. I've personally thought maybe we should take a loan from the treasury to get liquidity. That effectively is longing ADA as well. So it's a win-win. Personally, I think we all agree that Cardano in the long run, the price will go up. Obviously, there is room to go lower, but I think the price will go up. So taking a loan against ADA into USDC, you are longing ADA. I think it's a win-win for everyone. What do you guys think about that? Don't forget about USDM. They have been having some increased liquidity. We've had 1 million deposit just in one click 13 hours ago. So that's really cool to see. There's not just one horse in this race, there's a few. And something that I'm proposing and something that I hope that the ecosystem can look at is other chains do this thing where they pull all the stable coins together and they create a deep liquidity. And then that pool is represented by a liquidity pool token. And then you can pair that against tokens. So for example, instead of having like ADA USDC, ADA USDM, ADA USDT, and all those other sort of stable coins, you could have ADA against the liquidity pool token for all the stable coins pulled together. So what this does is it creates a deep level of liquidity, meaning that we don't need to have all these little pairs with all these slippage issues, which we've been having in the last month or so. It's been coming up all over X. What do you guys think about that idea? So a few days ago, I made a video about Drep centralization, and I really think people should have a good look at it. Currently, we have people like Yoroi and Eternal who've got large chunks and their wallet projects, right? No, none of these projects should really have that large of a slice of the pie, right? We should be a lot smaller than that, more decentralized, which means a larger group of ideas and thoughts. These people have such large power to sway votes so that proposals that benefit them are approved. So have a look at who your DREP is. Don't just default into one of the wallets, okay? Look at who you like. Look at what projects you're invested in. Look at their CEOs. I'm sure they're a DREP. Have a look at them. Maybe swap over to them. I highly suggest it. Crypto is all about decentralization. That's why we're here. So we should also have our voting proposal system to be decentralized as well, because currently it's not. So guys, we got some fresh news. I had this video all completed and then this news just dropped. So I've had to squeeze this in. Nav has made a post saying the PENTAD has voted against reimbursing iagon for the fireblocks integration. This is so disappointing. He stated that Intersect recommended it to be approved. He stated that the Cardano Foundation's global head of technical integrations was there to make sure the features were in alignment with the goals. So that only leaves 3 of the PENTAD, and I assume you need a majority to get the vote across. So that leaves IO, it leaves Emogo, and it leaves Midnight. Shame on those 3. This is so disappointing. This is something that benefits the whole ecosystem. And look, you've got a video of Charles tooting Iagon's horn, saying, you know, the 11th of the 12th is Iagon Day, and yeah, we'll get it done. We'll pay him back. You're only as good as your word. And they've now gone back on their word. So disappointing. You know, you've got Charles making videos complaining about US politics and all that. Look what we've brought to the Cardano ecosystem. This is so disappointing. So earlier this week, I made another post sharing Mr. Brownstone's technical analysis. The post pretty much says that I believe that his technical analysis is congruent with the news coming up. We've got fireblocks integration imminent. We've got worth product integration imminent. These are 2 sources of revenue that are going to be coming in for Iagon stakers. And that's going to equal the price to go up, okay? Right, that's what he's charting here. So people have been responding saying, you know, charting's not accurate. No, it's not. It's not a crystal ball. It doesn't tell you exactly what is going to happen, but it's like poker. You're looking at your hand and you're looking at the probability. The room to go lower is a lot smaller than the room to go up. And the current patterns that are being projected tend to typically lean more towards a bullish pattern rather than a bearish pattern. It's not saying it's 100% guaranteed. It's just saying it's a higher likelihood of happening rather than not happening. Do your own research. Look at what's coming up. Do you think the price is going to go up as a result of that? Do you think the price is going to go down? Obviously, we've got a crazy macro space at the moment, so everything's unpredictable. You could flip a coin, who knows, right? But me, I'm looking at what Iagon's got coming out soon, and I'm looking at some charting, and I personally think we've got a reversal on the way. And just finally, a big thank you to everyone. On X, I hit over 500 followers, and on YouTube, I hit over 50 subscribers. I'm incredibly humbled that people find value in my content. So a big thank you to everyone. So that wraps up this video. So as I said before, if you find value in my content, please subscribe to me on YouTube, and follow me on X. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave a comment and a like. I hope you're all having a great week. Thanks for watching.